my destiny.
Hey everybody! Thanks again for coming back for another episode of the Black Book Podcast. Our guest today is a guy who's helped me out just a little bit since my time I've been here in China. Um, he's done a lot of things helping out other Black people here in China, and this guy really doesn't need an introduction when it comes to Black people in China knowing him. But we're trying to make this thing a little global platform for us. So let's us welcome Nayyir Shareef. And
Hey.
yeah, there we go. And just so we can get a introduction to you, can you just tell us where you're from, where you live, what you've been doing, things like that?
Most definitely. As you know, my name is Nayyir. I am from America, so I have two homes in America. My first home would be Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, and then I made my second home in New York City shortly after high school, and from college on. I was pretty much making New York City my home.
Where'd you go to school?
So I went to school in Virginia State University. So
Okay.
Just before I went off to college, I made my way up to New York and started setting myself up to have a life there. And then during the college breaks, we get a ton of breaks. I would always go back to New York City and just continue to build my life there through work and many other things, other activities I was involved in, tons of them.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, man, what brought you to China?
Beijing. What brought me to China, man?
Yeah.
Pretty much what brings, a good deal of Western foreigners there, or Westerners, education. I was granted an opportunity to go there to become a teacher in the international scene. So I did that for my first year in China, first 11 months. I didn't even finish my first contract. They let me out early because I had another job lined up in China that was willing to pay me like triple, So
What? Okay.
yeah, man. Yeah. So I went straight from my first 11 months to 3 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Working the international system of education.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I met you. I think we first met through WeChat. It's like how most of us meet each other through WeChat, and then there's like an event. You go, oh yeah, you're the guy who did, yeah. So, I didn't even. To be honest, dude, like I didn't know you were teaching. I always thought you were doing something like tech or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because like based on the posts that you always made, but I really got to know you when it came to like the Black Gen events and stuff like that. So
right.
The first one was the poetry event at Bookworm in Beijing.
Yeah.
Which was a dope event. But can you speak on more, just like you and your team, man? What made you guys start Black Gen?
Most definitely, and man, Bookworm is gone now. Which is crazy, right? Isn't that crazy?
But yeah.
One of the first places we actually started to facilitate our events was the Bookworm. Dave and his team are just great people over there. But now for those of us who are familiar with Beijing and the whole San Latun area, they're gone. But what made us start Black Gen? A friend that I met in China, Leroy Adams, he's my co-founder in Black Gen. Him and we worked for the same first company. And we actually met at a school site. Just haphazardly, I had to go and help out his school. So my school sent me to go and help out his school, and he was in the office. And somehow, we're like the only two. It's not a lot of Black people there. There are enough Black people there, but there are not a lot. And we were like the only two in that particular office. So of course we struck up conversation. I told him I played chess, and he was like, I played chess too. So we made plans to kind of hang out and play some chess together, And we did that. And from that conversation, which led to the chess game. The chess game led to more conversations about our travels abroad and our time abroad and the things we were doing back in America and so forth. And it just led into this conversation to where we were like, man, have you noticed this in China? Yeah, I've noticed this. Have you experienced this? Yeah, I've experienced it. What can we do about it?
Right.
And then Black Jen is born. And it literally was like that. Hours worth of conversations that me and him just felt like we were synced on.
Okay. Yeah. That is, I think you guys created that little platform for everybody, man. It gave everybody like a, piece of home. Especially like for someone like me, because I mean, I'm not a very poetic guy, but I like listening to poetry, stuff like that. And when I was in college, and even before college, I would go on YouTube, listen to poetry, even host poetry slams in school and stuff like this, with the Black student union in my school, which is what we call the MXI. But it's
what school?
I went to Wabash College in Crawfordsville, Indiana. It's an all-male liberal arts college.
Nice.
And crazy thing, like, it's in like the middle of central Indiana, and you don't have to. Everybody knows about Indiana, but like in the 70s, before the 70s, I would say this, the school did not have an official like Black student union for the entire campus and things like that. And so early 70s, students got together with a couple of professors, mostly student led though, and basically created what we now call as the Malcolm X Institute of Black Studies. Right? The first ever institute named after Malcolm X, which is crazy though, because you look at like the school is real conservative, the areas were conservative, Indiana itself is conservative, but then we have like in the middle of campus this thing called the Malcolm X Institute of Black Studies.
Wow.
Yeah. So that basically operates as like the central hub for most Black students at my school and things like that. And so I spent all 4 years there doing various events and getting to know one another and things like that. And we actually have this year would have been our 50th, but because of COVID, it got pushed back, like the 50th anniversary since the opening of it. But it got pushed back, so we're looking at next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like because of that place, the school has been able to help hundreds of Black students graduate from there. I mean, like they were already graduating 1 or 2 here since like the early 1900s, maybe even before that. And things like that. But like that actually helped them push forward, got more Black students each year and things like that.
That is so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, dude. So it was nice. It was a nice little piece. I'm actually going to be interviewing someone from there pretty soon. Yeah.
So someone who's currently there.
No. This guy, he's actually not American. He's from Sierra Leone, but he went to school there. He went there way before I went there. So if I'm a new guy, he's an old head, compared to me. But it's not really about like he's from there, but it's not really about his experiences there. We're gonna talk about it because we both actually have that experience, but it's gonna be about what he's doing in Sierra Leone.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, let's try and keep going. Sorry, we got a little.
Yeah. You're cool.
Yeah. Man, so you said that you were teaching at first, and you moved to another job. Was that also a teaching job?
Yeah, it was the first job I had there was teaching English. Right. It was solely teaching English. So I did that. I had a year contract. I did it 11 months and left because I got an opportunity to teach at an international school, but not just English. It was actually, I don't think I was teaching English at all. I was teaching the subjects that I'm more comfortable with, which are mathematics, science, business technology, marketing, and accounting. So I ended up taking the next 3 contracts for different schools, teaching subjects that I'm more familiar with. And the newest subject is like contemporary and modern art, which I also can teach as well. So, once I got out of the teaching, and I still teach English too, but it's on a very minimal basis. Most of the most of the international schools, they have teachers that teach very specific subjects, and you can teach English if you want, or you can teach, some of the other subjects that you may be more comfortable or stronger with. And that's just what I do. I teach more disciplined subjects and let other teachers have the English classes.
Yeah, dude, that is what's up, actually, man. Because I just made that transition as well. Because most foreigners here, they probably are teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and they are probably teaching English. It's very rare to see whether this person is black or not. It's very rare to see a foreigner teaching a different subject in English. And I'm just starting to get into subject teaching because like English is not really like in China, English is not considered subject teaching in my eyes. It's just like it's like a standard that they have almost everywhere. But I want to ask you like, do you feel that there was a need for your students to have a foreign teacher who didn't necessarily teach English but taught all those other subjects you named?
I think it's very, very beneficial to them. These students, which in the different ways, the different perspectives, from of English, and these different perspectives of these the teachers use to kind of carry out the teaching of their subjects. It just broadens their knowledge base. It really expands these students' horizons, man. And a lot of these students, I have students that I'm still in contact with that are in universities now, in the West, Canada, US, and so forth. And it's wild how well prepared some of these students become just because they're around Australian English teachers, British English teachers, American English teachers, Canadian English teachers, teaching English as well as many other subjects in English. So it kind of makes those students level up quite a bit, more than I've seen even some students in the US.
Yeah, I know that feeling because I'm also doing the same thing. I'm like a humanities teacher out at my school. So you see, when you switch subjects, the students, they start to really reel in the information. But it takes time. It takes a little bit of time, with some of the
For sure. What grade are you teaching them? Humanities? That's like 7th grade, 8th grade?
No, I'm teaching grade 1 high school. So in Chinese, it's called Gaoyi. So
yes,
like they don't, in China they only have 3 years of high school. So like they don't have the system we have: freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. They call it grade 1 for high school. Yeah.
So yeah, those, how old are they? They're about.
There's most of my students are 16.
Yes. Okay. So
because they have an extra year somewhere where like the average age of the first year high school student is like 16 years old.
Right. Yeah. And those are the ages. You'll find out who is who at that point. A lot of those kids at that point have either been in international programs since they were 5 and 6 and 7, or either they're just kind of getting started around that time or just before that. But most of them, my experience has been they've been, pretty well versed by that age, and they can understand the material a lot better than you would actually expect, just because they've been going through these international training programs, year after year.
Yeah, my experience is a little bit different. I'm working with a company that's been here since maybe 30 years, but I started out with a new partnership with them at a new school. So in some of these, like, it's only like a handful of students who actually have like international experience, whether they had a foreign teacher before they had me. But most of them, this is like I was their first international teacher.
Wow.
And so it was a little bit of like push and pull at first. But after basically the first year went really well. Like the students got much better. We took a lot of data. I took a lot of data that was not even like they didn't even ask me to take, because I was just like, I got to show the progress of the students and things like that, just from my standpoint, because like my bosses and supervisors, they're gonna take their data as well. But what I learned is that their data is already like they already have like certain like things they need to meet for their data, so like they don't manipulate, but it's more like they're trying to meet a certain expectation for the students,
Right. Right.
and things like that. And I'm like, there's no expectation. It's just like if a person started here, this is where they've grown to, like,
Right.
and so that's a little bit different from what they were doing. Yeah. So, dude, man. So, after Black Gen and things like that, I think you started doing some other things. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, still are. In Beijing, we did start Black Gen, and then from Black Gen, because of the achievements we were making with Black Gen,
Right.
as far as achieving a certain turnout for our events, certain successes marketing wise, and reaching the people, and giving many platforms to a lot of artists who were looking for that at that time.
Right.
We were able to kind of expand our efforts into more partnerships, and also becoming the marketing leg of other people's operations. So we were a lot of things that we did, people don't even realize that they were designed by us, or these groups consulted with us to help them to market, not just to
Wow.
our audience, but to other audiences, whoever they were looking to get. Some people wanted just mostly our audience, but then there were a lot of people who needed a specific audience. So we would help them to achieve that. So we tried to build a little enterprise where Leroy and I could kind of keep, some monies coming in while we were there working. So we had our salary to jobs, and then we had all the stuff that was happening around the successes of Black Gens. We had
Yeah.
3 employees.
Okay.
We had yeah, 3 employees, two women and a young man, and we had lots of volunteers. So we were just taking it as it came, man, and um, that continued to transition itself into America, where we began another company that we're working on now, and should be unveiling within the next year, top of the next year. So, which is along the same lines. It's socially aimed along the same lines, but it's a technology based uh, version of
Yeah.
like Black Gen, So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
because I'm in that group called that I think you created, TechMate, and
yes, yes,
you share bits and pieces. I don't want to get too much in it because you said it's
yeah.
coming out. So
TechMate. I'm so looking forward to getting that. That's another part, but I'm so looking forward
yeah,
to kind of bring that to the light as well. But we were getting that started just before everything kind of started to shut down on us. So
man, so many things are getting started before everything
yeah,
started to shut down, dude. And I know. So like, did you choose to go back to the States? So like, are you back in the States permanently right now, or are you coming back to China, or what's the deal?
yeah. I'm. So did I choose to come back? I was on holiday. I left.
Yeah.
I left Beijing, China, on holiday with my carry-on luggage. So that
Right.
means all of my stuff is in Beijing. I wasn't leaving. I was
Oh.
still. It was just holiday for me. My birthday party, and I left the day after my birthday party. I planned to be gone for about a month. But then that's when all this started happening. I was in Thailand and for quite a while, over a month actually. I was planning to be gone a little bit over a month, but I was in Thailand and I was in Japan, and then this is when this stuff started happening. And so I went back to Thailand from Japan, and I was going to make my way back to China. I had a flight back to China,
Yeah.
but I noticed I got in a flight canceled, and I was like, well, what is this about? I wasn't really keeping up, but this thing was happening in the world, I guess. And a flight had gotten canceled, and then another flight had gotten canceled after I rebooked to get to China, to Beijing. And I found out that they said that I could try to go to Hong Kong and possibly lay over in Hong Kong for a bit. And I was like, nah, let me see. Let me see what's going on. I messaged back to my family in America and asked them, what do they think I should do? Should I try to hang around China, get back there, go through Hong Kong
Yeah.
or whatever, or should I come back to America? And they were like, you probably should just go ahead and come back, wait this thing out, because we didn't know what was going on. So I came back to America at the suggestion of my close family members,
Right.
um, intending on waiting things out, and ended up getting stuck here, because you can't get a flight to Beijing at all, you know, from here.
Yeah,
So yeah.
man, it's crazy that you were in Thailand. Cause I was also in Thailand when this
Mm.
stuff started popping off. Um, but like for me, well, I'll say this: if you were like out of the country in China, if you were in China but out of the country, you had like a small window to come back. That was like a really small window. And me and my girl, we like just made that window because like a few, like a I don't know, like 2 weeks later, I think they closed the borders because we came back like late January, and then
Yeah, see, I was still nope. I would have missed
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah, and then like right before like mid-February, I think they closed the borders and things like that, and it's been closed ever since. So
and
that
that's
that was
around when
interesting.
yeah, yeah, that's around when I started missing flights. It was just the strangest thing. I was like, why are they canceling my flights? I never had really had too many problems with that. So I bought a new one. I tried to see if I had insurance on the first one, and I got another flight, and they canceled that one too. I was like, "What's going on here?" And then I called the people, or I tried to message the people, and that's when they were like, "Well, we can try to get you into Hong Kong, and you can go to Hong Kong." And I was like, "Nah, I need to see what's up with my back home." So that's when I called my family to see what they thought was the best thing for me to do, and that's when I made
Yeah,
the decision to kind of come home. Yeah,
yeah,
for a bit.
yeah. But before all of this, this COVID stuff, man, would you attribute like being abroad for you to like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Would you attribute being abroad for the reasons why you created Black Gin or something like Black Gin? Like, do you feel like you would have been able to do this at home?
In principle, I could do it at home. I've done things on a lower scale, similar at home in smaller communities, like like university communities or more
Yeah.
smaller controlled communities. It's very difficult to do something like that the way we did it in Beijing because of one, the marketing. In Beijing, WeChat is all you need. You can pretty much organize massive groups of people through an app.
Right.
And in America, there's not really an app that allows you that type of access.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to do that with Facebook. It's not so
And
easy to do it. Yeah.
I would attribute, like, I mean, you're all also right, but I think I would also attribute to the fact that like the people who you were marketing to in Beijing, which is basically like the whole of Black Beijing,
Yeah.
they were like hungry for this
Yeah.
type of for these type of events. Like even I was hungry for these type of events when I first started hearing about it. I was like, dude, this is cool. I gotta go because this is something we
Absolutely.
wanted. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you hit it on the head when you said it made people feel a piece of home. A
Right.
lot of the Westerners there, a lot of the Black Westerners there, even the non-Black Westerners. Those types of events are all over the place in America, but they were not really being done extensively in Beijing by people
Yeah.
like us who put on these types of events back home.
Exactly.
So I think we were able to catch a little wave with that, and kind of ride it for a minute, until we deactivated it, which we basically did by we deactivated our leg in it by kind of slowing down. And I had come back to America for a minute. I started something here. Leroy started something here. So we kind of took some momentum out of it. But at the same time, when we took the momentum out from our actual initiative, there were other people kind of doing things at that point. They started to really pick up where we were
Yeah.
not filling the voids.
Yeah, that was my next point, was that like you guys were so big. I think you
Mm.
guys started some competition, which is healthy. I think it was healthy competition because that was because you guys were the only one. There was definitely room, uh, for another organization, and I hope to get them on as well in the future, to talk about what their organization is about. Um, but yeah, dude. So what's next for Nayyir Shareef?
Yeah. Well, like I said, this company that we've been working on since about the time I've been here, me and my partner Leroy and another gentleman from Sierra Leone, actually. He's
Okay.
a friend of mine from university. His name is Muhyiddin. Um, this company that we're going to be sharing with the world very soon. Something we're very proud of. We just came off of a retreat for it, a business retreat. We've been putting together the pieces like crazy. We have a meeting here in the morning. Um, it's something we really really believe in, and it has the same social aim as what a Black gin is to the arts community.
Okay.
This is something that has the same, it's the same aim as that, but it's just going to have, it's going to be primarily web based,
Okay.
uh, online media and content for creators and producers and filmmakers and so forth. So you'll hear more about it very, very soon.
I'm looking forward to it. Really,
Yeah.
really looking forward to it, man. All right, man. Before we go, dude, could you, just so people can keep up with you, can you just list off some social media of yours that you know that you're active on?
Yeah, most definitely. The only thing that I'm most active on personally is Instagram.
Okay.
Um, my personal my page is Nayyir Shareef. That's Nayyir Shareef, as in Frank. Nayyir Shareef, one word, at Nayyir Shareef on Instagram, and I usually check that once a day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least once a day. Sometimes maybe at least every 2 days, but usually once a day.
Absolutely. All right, dude. And one more thing before we get out of here, man. I don't want to take too much of your time up. Just
Okay.
um, lasting impressions, like a word of like words of encouragement or anything that you can think of, man. Like I'll give you just the floor right now, so you can say whatever you got on your heart.
Cool. I appreciate it. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I
No
dig it.
problem.
And I appreciate you sharing the link to that podcast. I'll share it. I'll continue to share it. I think it's dope. I think it's awesome, and there's never enough, you know. So the more content we can get from our creatives and from our beautiful minds, man, I just think it adds in to the whole cause of it all, you know. So
Absolutely.
keep doing what you're doing for sure. Your potential is limitless, you know. But as far as you know, words of encouragement, you know, I just encourage people to take it one day at a time, you know, and
Okay.
continue to find those great moments in this experience of your life. Continue to try to hone in on the right conversations, get with the right people, the right energies, and lessen lessen the things that probably are not as conducive to your ideals, you know, or your values that you have for yourself, if you've got those defined. But just keep going, man. Whatever your mind, I truly believe if you can conceive it, like they always say, if you can conceive it in the mental, you can achieve it in the physical. I truly believe that, and I encourage everyone to take a hold of those values that they have and their dreams and their goals, and just really dig in, one day at a time, one small step at a time.
Man, those words are beautiful, man.
Yeah,
So I
thank you.
appreciate you again. I'm Eric Charles. Again, this is Nayyir Shareef, and that is the Black Book Podcast. I'm just on a mission. I'm trying to